Thank you guys for joining us for our workshop today. Today we're going to be going over what you guys could do to stay busy over summer. So we're going to go over personal projects, open source contributions, and brainstorming, websites and courses certifications and LeetCode HackerRank, and like just different options that you can do. So first, for personal projects, here are some questions to consider. Maybe you've like thought of something like randomly, like during class when you're learning like a topic or anything that you wanted to solve. Or if there's any specific technology that you learned from class that you wanted to use, or you thought it would be useful to maybe like add that experience to your resume. And for this project over summer, summer is usually 3 months. So you kind of have to think how much time will this project take to implement? And otherwise you can scale it depending on whether it will take longer or shorter. So for these projects, I'm assuming you're doing projects so you can put on your resume. So recruiters will see it and be like, oh, you have this X, Y, and Z experience. That looks good. Like, and then hopefully you'll get an interview. So for these projects, you want to focus on something functional and something polished. These projects or functional and polished doesn't have to be in the same project, but it could be. But obviously it would be more complex if you do it in the same project. You could do 2 separate ones for something more like something that's specifically functional and something that just looks really nice. So when you're choosing an idea, you can either choose an existing idea because there's so many ideas that are already created. So either you can choose to make something better or something unique, something that someone hasn't done before. So typical projects is like making a web scraper, designing your personal website, or building a game. And for projects, it's useful to find an API that you want to learn because it will be easier to implement it, just to create your project. So if you're creating your project for the very first time, obviously there are tutorials on YouTube. I wouldn't recommend this for people who already have project experience because tutorials are kind of, I wouldn't say mindless, but there's no real critical thinking because you get the answers right away. But for your very first project, I would just go through a tutorial and see how the project workflow is. And obviously no project is too easy if you gain something from it. So opportunities at UC Santa Cruz, there's a Tech for Good research lab. I'm actually in it this quarter. It's not entirely research unless you're in the research teams, but there are skill building teams like components and containers. This mainly focuses on like front end, but you can also work on a back end as well if you are in containers. This quarter I am in components, so you kind of use like Angular and Node, and they don't expect you to know anything. So this is very good if you want to gain some experience while like connecting with your peers. And then there's also tutoring and grading. I'm not sure if you have to be enrolled during the summer to be able to tutor for different classes, but tutoring for any CS classes or any like major related classes would be like useful because when you learn something enough to teach it to others, that means obviously your knowledge expands, and also recruiters like to see that you like helping others. And then some things you can think about for next summer. Next summer seems kind of far, but actually it isn't because time goes really fast, at least quarter system wise. There's Google Summer of Code, which is basically a program that you can do for open source projects. And you kind of are put in a team. So you can also like rely on your team members and you don't have to do open source all by yourself. And there's also research opportunities. I think by spring quarter, it might be too late, but this honestly depends if you reach out to your professor and just how many spaces they have for researchers. So for brainstorming projects, I want you guys to break into groups of 4. And also, I know a lot of you guys are spread out, so like people more towards the back could also come up front. And then just take turns on like any ideas you have for projects over the summer. And then we'll give you guys around like 5 to 7 minutes. So if you in the really very back want to come up front, and then you two, yeah.
Honestly, I think we have enough people to also do kind of a bigger group too, because I think it seems to be like a smaller number of people. So if we could do that also.
Yeah. So everyone just
There was a couple links to GitHub reports on some really good project ideas. So you guys want to, you can check those out. Right? See some ideas that could be inspirational for something.
Yeah, that will change it. But then it's 7 will change that. Yeah. No, I don't. Okay. So 6, 7, and 2 add to 6. Yeah, 6 and 8. But you don't change that. Yeah. 3 is 7, 8. Yeah. Update. Yeah. 6 plus 8, 14, 6 plus 9, 15. 6 plus 7, 13. No. Wait, 6 plus 1, no? 6 plus 7 is 7. Oh, 7. Okay, so 7. 6 plus 7, 13. 6 plus 9 is 15. So that is 15. That is change. Then 7 plus 14. 7 plus 14. And then this will be the unified second middle. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's my solution right now. And then also what's going on? 6, 9. So one is since it's saying it's a n by n, these numbers will be the same. Oh, with n by n, yeah, it's n by n. Yep. We index for the last. But why do n minus 1? N minus 1. Oh, because I start, because I go two in a row at a time. Boom, boom. Because I already updated the first one. I already updated the first row with the new numbers. So you do 1 till n, no? No, because if you look through that, I'm updating the next row. I plus 1. If it was n, it was n will overflow or will go out of index. So this will be I plus 1. This will be I. Right. So the first step will be this one, and this one. But I'm updating I plus 1 each time. I is already set in stone. That's why. Okay. Okay, I can see that. I'm putting down. Dynamic programs. Basically, it's the goal of this problem is to find. Yeah, it's yeah.
basically you had to add, or like you had to choose one number from the next row to add to one of these numbers, and you're trying to find the minimum. And the rule is you just can't have the same index. The one. I don't think so. This is.
Project ideas.
It exists, but it's not like a site.
It's the double, wait, what, double?
Because
Program.
after
Are you sure that wasn't a coding assignment?
well, technically, Monopoly. Really? Well, I did an ABCSA, so like,
Yeah, sounds like a.
okay, it was so scuffed. There's no way it could count as an assignment. It's not. It was not. You can trust me on that.
What do you, two for loops? Oh, no, what do you three for loops?
Three for loops.
So I understand this one is iterating to the row. But what is this one?
Because what I do is
No, hold on. I think I see the
Yeah,
issue.
because
Wait.
I think you need three for loops here.
Oh, no, I don't see the issue. Okay, so let's take for loops.
You need three for loops because in order to iterate through the whole thing, you need two for loops, right? And for each number, I want to check I want to iterate through a row each time. I want to check,
Oh, I see.
yeah, so
Okay.
that's why they need three for loops. So these two are just for, and this one is for me where the number. Check these. You check the next.
So
Right.
these two are just doing like this, that, and this one is going to row by row.
So,
Let's see.
and this one is getting six. So
So this was correct, not 3.
yeah, because if you're a two, you add this one. Actually, yeah, let me just try to iterate this. It should be correct because if you're a two here, you add to one. Two here, you add to one. One, you add to any two. And then this would be three. And then now three, you add to two.
Works.
No. But this one would be. One plus three, two plus. No, this should be five.
Five. I think 5, 5, 4, 5, 5.
Yeah, that should be the correct answer. Adopted.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can see the front of those.
Wait, is the first one all threes? I don't think so.
All three.
Should it be 4, 3, 3? Like it's been 4, 4, 3, 4.
Well, two would add to one, two would add to one.
No, as in like so this becomes 4. This becomes 3, 4, 5. This becomes 3. Okay, 3.
Once you start.
Once you get to the ones, then you become all 3. Okay. No. Okay.
So it's just this. I hate that number.
I think this is a little bit. This is part of that part. Yeah. It's a little bit. It's not. I don't think it's exactly deep.
I mean,
Maybe it is.
option is the brute force.
I mean, I got the. Okay, I think I did.
So you have to use the
I got the base case,
but you have to.
but not this one. I get a time limit. I get a time limit exceeded at. Six. So I do have, but at six.
No, this is the. I think this is DP because you don't retrace stats.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I do a Q. I'm doing BFS basically.
Okay, DFS, the search algorithm is but brute force is just a trade. It's going to.
Well, brute force is trying. Brute force is not necessarily. It's trying all different.
Yeah, and you can map the opposite of a trade. But that's what Nico does.
Yeah.
Okay, it was great to see you guys all talking. Does anyone want to share the projects that they're doing over the summer or anything they want to do? I can go first. I'm a third year CS major. I've had 3 years to work on my personal website. It's still not done. So that's what I'll be doing this summer, except I want it to actually look pretty, not just like a basic website. So does anyone want to share? Yes? I've heard the job market for computer security is pretty good too. So compared to just like your general software engineering. Cohen says it's stressful. Anyone else want to share before we continue? Yeah. Nice. Have you thought about like what you might use? Like, are you thinking OpenAI or? Yes. Awesome. We will definitely have a little bit more time at the end to talk. So now let's get into a little bit about open source contributions. Just a disclaimer, I did not put this presentation together. But we do have, so I'm not the best person to talk to about open source. We can definitely connect you with people who might know more. But generally, why should you open or contribute to open source? You can impress recruiters. You can see how a community develops code, because the idea is that everyone is kind of, it's free for everyone to see, first of all, and then anyone can contribute, anyone can, you know, talk about ideas they want to integrate into whatever technology. You can help improve something that you use. So, in terms of finding an open source project, you can think of things that you already use see if they are open source. You can search on GitHub. You can just literally type in like popular open source projects. Has anyone heard of Zulip? So if you haven't taken CSE 114A, or even if you have, you might not have heard of it. It's like Discord and Slack. So it's like a messaging platform, and Professor Cooper uses it for her 114A. That's open source. So technically you could like get involved in contributing to that if you want. Does anyone else know of any open source projects? Or do you want to look one up right now? I can give you 5 minutes for that. Okay, can anyone name any Python open source projects? Yeah. Okay, I have not heard of that one. What is nice? I'm also kind of just reading off this TensorFlow. Have people heard of TensorFlow? It's popular in Python, Flask, backend, web. So they're out there for you to find. If you are interested in something like this, you should definitely go for it. Before you do, though, you should assess project health. So look at how active the project is, see if there are any arguments that are happening. Does the community generally look good? Do they have any messaging platform or anything that you can join before you get involved? You want to make sure that you're going into a community that will help you, that will allow you to learn, that will allow you to, maybe network, meet some people. So you do want to be selective about what you choose to put your time into. Do also look at how big the project is. So if it's a smaller project, it can be difficult to contribute, or more people might be like, I don't know how to say this, careful about what they accept. But if it's a bigger project, you get more recognition, but it might be harder to join. So we do have something called the Center for Research in Open Source Software. The link is here, so if you're on the slides, you can take a look. There are a lot of research projects involved. We do have a class, I think it's CC 117, called Open Source Programming. So once you're able to take higher operative electives, you can try to take that class. I'm pretty sure it's being taught right now by a professor who works at Cross. So you can also just see which professors, if there are any at UCSD, drop into their office hours, see what they're doing, ask how you can contribute. Now I'm going to pass it off to Hannah for courses, certificates, and work experience.
Okay, great. So as Anusha said, so certificates, there's a lot of certificates out there, but the more well-known ones are from Google, Amazon Web Services, Cisco, and A+. A+ is an IT certification. There's also LinkedIn Learning, and you can probably put these certificates in your LinkedIn profile. And then there's also Google Cloud Skills Boost. And because we are a Google Developer Student Club, you can talk to us about getting credits. I think the person to talk to is Cohen. S- Yes. Oh, okay. And then for courses, obviously there are summer courses, but those are expensive if you don't have financial aid. And then there's also Udemy and Coursera courses. I'm not sure about the prices for Coursera. I think some of them might be free, but Udemy also has free ones and paid ones. I think I personally have used Udemy before actually for getting an AWS certification. It was actually very useful in helping me pass it. So I would recommend if you're looking for just having a study plan and like knowing exactly what to study. And then obviously there are like the free online CS courses. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of CS50, which comes from Harvard. I think you can find like a YouTube video on it. And then there's also one from Berkeley called CS61A. And then like the options are like limitless. Just search it up and you'll probably find a course for what you're looking for. And then there's also community colleges. Like if you don't have enough time to finish your GEs in however many years you want to graduate, you can take classes as well. So for working as a tutor, if you don't do the UCSC tutor one, you can also tutor for Mathnasium and Kumon, and there's also Cosmos. I think Santa Cruz hosts Cosmos as well. So you can, yeah.
So Cosmos, if you haven't heard of it, I think it's California State Summer School for Math and Science. I don't know if I said that correctly according to the acronym. I believe it's taught by 4 UCs. Santa Cruz is one of them. And my friend was an RA for Cosmos. And so you would be RAing. I think they pay for your food and housing, and you could help lead like a cohort. I think they have like 20 cohorts of high schoolers who are doing activities in like different topics in CS, math, and other sciences. So that's a great way to kind of be involved. You could meet some cool professors. I know that these high school students get the chance to work with professors, so that could be a good way to network as well.
There's also Juni Learning and Code Ninjas, which I'm pretty sure just you teach people how to code. And then independent tutor, I think this honestly depends on your comfortability, like how comfortable you are. And you can just kind of tutor whoever wants your help. And then LeetCode and HackerRank, this is important for interviews, like getting jobs, it's like very like data structures and algorithms. If you haven't taken CSC 101 yet, I would highly recommend it. So, but if you have it, that's no problem. That's not a problem because you can start early, and actually this might benefit you for your 101 class since you'll kind of have more of an idea of what's going on. So there's like a popular path called Blind 75, and these are 75 LeetCodes questions that you should know in depth. Obviously, if you haven't taken 101, just kind of like review the data structures and algorithms and kind of get as far as you can get. And there's also like a bunch of resources on YouTube, like NeetCode. You can watch him for in-depth explanations for each problem. And then you can also track your progress by clicking on this link. And this is by the author of the Blind 75. And also, if you want to track, you can use a spreadsheet. I personally use Notion. It's not very updated, but like if you really want to keep track of your progress. And then finally, this is summer, so you should also balance. I mean, even if it's not summer, I know it's hard to balance like your work-life balance with a quarter system, but you should just try your best, and also don't get too like take care of your mental health as well. So by staying motivated, I would highly recommend making a schedule, and later we will have a time for you guys to kind of plan out your summer as well. And this basically helps you dedicate like X amount of hours per week to work on something and work towards a goal. And then this is just basically what you guys should go through. Like ask yourself, what is your definition of done? Is it like simply just going through a tutorial and like just typing all the stuff without not really knowing what you're doing, but at least you know you finished a project? Or is your definition of done really understanding each part, and maybe like maybe 20 minutes of the tutorial you stop, and then for the for like 1 more hour you kind of review what exactly is happening and understanding the content? And then also another good way is to find peers to keep you accountable, because as like for me, it's easier for me to study with other people and like stay focused, because I know like my friends are being focused, so I should be focused, that type of thing. But obviously there are independent um like studiers. And last but not least, enjoy your summer, go outside, take up a hobby, get a job. It doesn't matter if it's like CS related or major related, just get that bank. And then experience is experience. So you want to try to be well-rounded. Obviously, if you're in like your first or second year, it's hard to know like what exactly you want to focus in for your career. So you can kind of just experiment. So now we're gonna break up into groups of 4 again, or you guys can all just like talk to the people around you. And click on this summer plan template, or there's also the tiny URL. I'm gonna show you guys how to set this up, because this will be on Notion. If you guys don't have a Notion, then I'll show you guys how to set it up. What is this? Okay. So the link will take you to this page right here. This is just a template. So how you want to duplicate it is by going to the top right corner with these 2 squares overlapping, and then press duplicate. And then here, are you guys caught up to this sign-in page right here? I'll give you guys like 30 seconds. Well, thumbs up if you're on the sign-in page. Thumbs. That's not like, that's almost half. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to move on. Okay, so now you can either sign in with Google or anything else listed right here. I'm just gonna continue with Google. I'm gonna use another account. So then this is just for personal use. Now right here on the left banner. And here is kind of like an example of what you can do for planning a project. In this case, you can build a web column to read and analyze these articles and for them to users on a daily basis. And if you guys want to the cloud workshops, you guys are recognized and speaking. And then underneath required technologies, you can just put like the tech stack that you're gonna use. Like here you can use GCP, and then these are like the like PubSub, natural language processing API. And if you actually want to like go through with this project, there is a video on our YouTube that goes through this entire workshop. And then down below, if you scroll, you can kind of you can first establish goals and components for the project. And then you can break those components into daily tasks. And although this might seem a little tedious, I know everyone has a different way of kind of planning things out. Of course, like, you don't have to follow this exact template, but this kind of helps you stay motivated and dedicated since you can see and track your progress. So in groups of 4 or however many you would like, just kind of fill it out together and see what you come up with.
But yeah, I think that's kind of everything that we have for you. Before you go though, if you are planning to go, we do have a feedback form for you. So just give us 5 minutes to get that set up. But in the meantime, feel free to discuss once again, or just talk honestly. I mean, it's week 4. We're all kind of tired. So,
Like if you don't want to get it out,
but don't leave yet.
talk about it.
Don't leave yet. We have the feedback form for you. So,
Say for the feedback form, guys.
you know, you want to give us feedback.
Exactly. Like, to be honest, I just plan out my goals on my notes app. But